loves, welcome to my channel, welcome if you're new. It's Cass. Please like, subscribe, comment, all those fun things. Today's video is all the books that I read in 2020 and I'm going to tell you guys what I thought of them, and if you haven't read them before then hopefully it gives some insight to what you might want to read for 2021. So here are the books. These are all the books that I read in 2020. So I read 12. I'm happy with 12, but like I know a lot of people do that like read a book a week things, or that kind of puts my 12 books to shame, but I'm happy with what I read. Firstly, I read The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. This book was amazing. I loved it. It was actually the sequel to The Name of the Wind. It is like fantasy kind of genre. Definitely recommend if you're into that kind of genre. It's actually probably one of my favorite books. My friend had been recommending it to me for years, and then I finally read this one in 2019 and then started on the second one and finished the second one at the very beginning of 2020. So it was just kind of like transitioning into 2020 while in the middle of this book, and it is so good. The time is set is like a long, like far into history, and it's about this guy, his name's Quoth, and it's all like he's an alchemist, and like it's all about his journey. I'm really bad at explaining it, but it was really good. I really liked it, and just like the way it's written, Patrick Rothfuss did an amazing job. So I definitely recommend these two if you haven't read them. Like 10 out of 10. They're a great fantasy read. Just, yeah, definitely recommend. They're great. Oh, and I'm pretty sure there is going to be a third book to that series, and I'm pretty sure like a TV series type thing had been approved. So yeah, don't quote me on any of this, but I'm pretty sure that there is more to come from Patrick Rothfuss for that series of Quoth. But there isn't anything out at the moment, but I think there will be. So now's a really good time to like jump onto that so that you could kind of be closer to like what's coming next sooner. Yeah. The second book I read of 2020 was Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. I actually got this book for Christmas 2019. I got them to write in it for me. I always get people to write in books when they give me books so that I can always remember when and where I got them from. But yeah, this book is really good. I actually read a review online like really bashing this book, saying like, you know, the issue was resolved too quickly and just that it didn't really make much sense and that, which no, it's really good, I promise. It's a really good book. It's not like one of those typical kind of like romance type ones either. It's about like this lady, and she lives like the same everyday life. She goes to work, she gets the same lunch, she's in the same routine, she lives alone. She quite often doesn't even talk to anyone over the weekend. So she just communicates with who she has to work with, and that's it. And so her life is as simple and boring as can possibly be. And she drinks the same 2 bottles of vodka every weekend. So it's hard to explain, but it's very reflective of like mental health, I think. So like she's battling through some stuff, and it's kind of like her story of like dealing with her past trauma and how she can move forward from that. So it's very like uplifting. I really liked it. Definitely recommend. And I think all of these books are gonna probably get like 10 out of 10, but yeah, just definitely recommend. Next, I read Nevermore by Jessica Townsend. This one is, I was very skeptical to read it because it's a younger audience. Like, I mean, you can tell by looking at it, it's a younger audience, but I was just really intrigued, especially this bit at the bottom. It says, readers will feel as though Harry Potter is meeting Alice in Wonderland. Like, that's the bit that kind of sold it for me. And I actually loved it. It was such a nice, easy read as well because it's a younger kind of age. So it's nice to step back from like some books that I'd normally read to this. So I think that's a plane. So it was great to kind of step back into this, and I really enjoyed it. Basically this girl, her name is Morrigan Crow. She's born on Eventide, which means she's a cursed child, and I think she's only supposed to live till like age 12, and then on her 12th birthday she's supposed to die or something, and she ends up going to like this special school and she's gifted, and it's just amazing. It is really, really great. Just like the creativity and everything behind it all is amazing. So of course I read the second one as well. So loved it, got the second one, loved it. Yeah, I found the second one pretty much just as enjoyable as the first. I know for a lot of series with me, when I start reading a series, sometimes it kind of declines, like the first book or the first couple books are good and then it kind of goes downhill for me. Whereas for this one and this one, I found them both really, really, really enjoyable. And for mine and Ryan's anniversary in October 2020, he actually got me the third book, Hollypox. So I'm really excited to read that. I haven't read it yet. So this will be on my list to read for this year, for 2021. The End of the Day are a great series. Once again, it's 10 out of 10. It's great. I think especially if, like, even if you are an older kind of reader, it's just nice because it's such an easy read and like everything kind of comes to mind so easily. It's great. So it was just like a really nice, like, chill read to kind of go into. I also read Coraline by Neil Gaiman. This book I saw like a few years ago, and Coraline is actually my favorite movie of all time. I love it. And I saw this book a few years ago and I almost bought it, and then I was like, no, it's for a younger audience. Like, I had a little bit of a flick through and, you know, it's so small, like I just thought I wouldn't enjoy it, so I didn't buy it. Then, you know, a couple years later, so last year in 2020, I thought, you know, I'm not getting any younger, I want to read this. And it was really hard to find, and eventually I found it and I loved it. But this is actually one of the very extremely rare times where I say I enjoy the movie more. Like, Neil Gaiman is an amazing author, don't get me wrong, and there is so many more books by him that are on my list to read for 2021. And this still was an amazing read, so like definitely recommend reading it. But like, YB isn't in this either, so like there's no YB, and there's no little doll like with the button eyes. So, and like that's one of my favorite parts about Coraline, the doll with the button eyes. I want to make a doll with the button eyes and have my own little me. I think it's amazing. So this was great, definitely recommend, especially if you're a Coraline fan. But yeah, it's a little different. Oh, another thing I found really interesting was that like they don't keep luring her through for like different events and that kind of thing. It's kind of all in like one big event, like one big thing, and then she has to go back. Whereas in the movie they kind of lure her and like slowly gain her trust, whereas in the book they kind of lure her, keep her there, and like it's all kind of done much quicker. Like the beldam is trying to like take her quicker. So it's good, and I know obviously the movie wouldn't be a thing without this, because, you know, it started from a book. But the book, I probably put it as like an 8 out of 10. Still recommend it, still love it, and love Neil Gaiman. There's so many books by him I want to read, but the movie is my favorite movie. I have very high expectations for it, but still recommend reading this. It is great. And I'm saving not necessarily the best for last, but possibly the best for last, biggest for last, definitely, the Harry Potter series. I wanted to read Harry Potter when I was younger. I first tried to read them when I was 12, so I was the perfect age, but I don't know if I was just like really stupid or like, I don't know. I just could not get into them. I tried to read the first one a couple times and I just could not get into it at all, so it kind of ruined it for me. And then I just thought that I didn't like that genre at all, and I just thought that I wasn't really into fantasy books, and that's also why it took me longer to read The Name of the Wind as well, and then The Wise Man's Fear, because I thought that I didn't really like that fantasy genre. So it was really stupid of me, but because I really struggled to get into them, it kind of ruined it for me. I just thought I didn't like Harry Potter as the book. I loved the movies, I always loved the movies, but I just thought that the books weren't my thing. So in 2020, I kind of decided to give them another chance, and the reason actually was because of Nevermore. That little bit that I showed you guys where it says that Nevermore is where Alice in Wonderland meets Harry Potter. Alice in Wonderland is one of my favourite stories of all time, and I love Harry Potter the movies, even though I didn't read the books, but like I've always loved Harry Potter and I've always loved Alice in Wonderland, so that's why I bought the Nevermore series. Readers will feel as though Harry Potter is meeting Alice in Wonderland. So this series here, so I read this, and then that made me want to read Harry Potter, and I just couldn't stop. I finished the whole series, and they're amazing. They're so much better than the movies. Like, the movies leave so much out. They're just great. I read the first one, absolutely loved it. The second one, absolutely loved it. Though I do agree that with the Chamber of Secrets, a lot of people say that they believe the ending is a little rushed, and I get what they mean now. I think it is as well, but it's still amazing. I still love it. They're all 10 out of 10 for me. They're amazing. And Prisoner of Azkaban was actually always my favourite movie, so either that one or the first one. So reading the book of that was really, really cool. They're so good. They're all so good. I had some of them just like around my house because I had tried to read the series before, so I had, I think, 3. Then Ryan had a couple that I could borrow, and then I think I only ended up having to buy 2, and I bought them from secondhand bookshops, so my like series is all kind of like the old style. For Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince, I liked the movies, but I never really for me, the movies, the first, second and third were amazing, and then fourth is where it kind of, not dropped off, but like, I wasn't as into it, I don't know, but the first 3 movies were always amazing, whereas with these, each time I finished a book, I then rewatched a movie, and I was so hooked, read every book, rewatched all the movies, and fell in love with all of them. They're amazing. Please, if you have not read the Harry Potter series, read them. They're so good. And like the look people would give me when I said I hadn't read them, they're like, what do you mean you haven't read Harry Potter series? I guess like most readers have read this series, but yeah, no, I can't stress this enough. It is like one of those ones where the book is like so much better than the movies. The movies leave so much out, and I remember when I was rewatching the movies, I kept thinking like, no, they're skipping bits, that didn't happen that fast, because I was just so consumed by the books. The Harry Potter series, I read all of them in 2020. They're amazing. I loved them all so much, and they're all 10 out of 10. They're amazing books. My favourite one was probably Goblet of Fire, and my least favourite, I think, was Chamber of Secrets, because the end was that little bit rushed, but in saying that, it's still amazing. Like, I'd read them again. It's still so good. From rewatching the movies and reading all the books for the first time, I've actually come to the realization that I think Snape is my favourite character. I don't know how people feel about that, but I think Snape's my favourite character. Like, when Lily, like, when that happens to Lily, and then Dumbledore's like, after all this time, and Snape just says, always. I think that's just like the sweetest thing, because like, even though he wasn't ever like romantically with her, he never like tried to get between like her and James or anything like that, and he just wanted her to live and just wanted her to be happy, and he just wanted the absolute best for her, even if it meant like himself missing out, and it was just, oh. Before then, I think my favourite was Luna, and she's still probably pretty high up there. I think I really like Luna. And little like Harry Potter facts about me. My house would be Ravenclaw. So I hadn't really been able to put myself in the house properly before either, because I hadn't like linked myself with Harry Potter as much. But I think I'm Ravenclaw, though sometimes I feel a bit like Hufflepuff, but it kind of depends on the day. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you liked this video and the books that I read in 2020. If you've read any of those books, please let me know. I'm really interested to hear what you have to say about them as well. For 2021, I'm not entirely sure what I want to read, so if you have any recommendations, please put them in the comment section below. I'd be really interested to hear what you guys have to say. Though I do definitely plan on reading Stephen King's It, because I had this on my like list to read last year, but because I got so entangled in the Harry Potter series, I just didn't get time to read some of the other books that I planned to. So no problem with that at all, don't regret a thing. It was still such a good year for reading, even though it was a tough year, a good year for reading. And this book is on my list to read this year, and so is Hollowpox, the third book in the Nevermore series by Jessica Townsend. So this one and It, so both like very different kind of genres. These two books here are on my list to read this year, and then I'm not really sure. I've got a few books, like I've got quite a few books I need to get through, but I will happily take like recommendations. So if you guys have any recommendations of books, please let me know. I hope everybody is safe and well and had an amazing Christmas and New Year's, and if you don't celebrate Christmas or those kind of holidays, then I still hope that you're safe and well, and that you've had a nice last few months, and all the best for what the new year has in store for you guys. I love you. Bye.